All right, welcome back everyone to the Star Ladder Hearthstone kickoff season playoffs. We're just done casting a match between Orange and Lostov, and Lostov again adding another Archon head to his necklace. Is that what they do in the Amazon forest?
No, I'm sure they do it in Russia as well. Just,
Okay.
collecting those heads and just getting a pay up from Temple Storm or whoever is paying for those heads. He is earning a lot of money and probably aiming at Farbat's head, as we said. But, the next match is really exciting.
Yeah.
And it's a rematch. The Clash of the Titans, as he said.
Yeah, StrifeCro versus Lifecoach is a really big match. The two players have encountered them like each other in other tournaments, and I think StrifeCro lost against Lifecoach, and he wants to get the win. Like not so much for the tournament ranking, as much as it is for the satisfaction of getting
Yeah,
the
the
win.
revenge is best served cold. And I need to ask you, Nox, like, who are you rooting for? Because there is an US player and European player.
Like
And
honestly, I really am rooting for Lifecoach because I love watching him play.
you saved me because I'm really rooting for StrifeCro. So if we both root for StrifeCro, it's unfair to Life Coach.
Yeah, well, that's good then, because then I guess we'll be on opposite ends. We're like gonna swap whoever we're rooting for. So, I mean, Life Coach has brought a very standard lineup to this event. Like as a whole, they can't change their deck list because we're past the group stage, so now they're in double elim. Life Coach's lineup is the most standard lineup you see him bring every single time, which it's kind of weird when you think about it. He brought Druid, Warrior, Handlock, and that's basically all he brings nowadays.
Yeah, it's really easy to read Life Coach, but somehow it works for him. Like if he really plays those decks a lot, if he knows how to win with the decks, and he's doing good in Hearthstone overall. It is a strong lineup. So even if he feels like, hey, I will not mix it up, I will just play the decks I know and with them. If it works for him, then just why switch? Why mix it up? But
Yeah.
the patron deck is like a deck I really want Life Coach to play and to watch him playing patron because he's really slow with his plays. And did he stumble like before when you casted him? Basically, like just got roped.
Playing okay, well, he didn't lose because he got roped, but he has had like it seems like Patron Warrior is not yet his comfort zone. Like he had to pick it up because it's the best deck, right? Let's be honest about it. It's considered still, the tier 1 deck above all the other ones. And although it has bad matchups, it can still get wins out of those bad matchups. So he had to pick it up, and it doesn't seem like he's hyper comfortable with it yet. Like he plays it very well, but it doesn't feel natural. Like when I see him play handlock, it just seems like it's almost automatic. I can see where he's going, but patient warrior not quite yet.
All right, but he is definitely an excellent
Yeah,
patron warrior, so a player
right.
to watch. On the other hand, StrifeCro is bringing Midrange Hunter, Oil Rogue, and Freeze Mage, so a very interesting lineup himself. And what do you think about those decks?
I like StrifeCro's lineup because it's like bringing all rogue makes a lot of sense. I mean, it beats patron warrior very often. I mean, the blade flurry is what makes it so good, right? You just wipe the board right away. It's also the most important card to kind of pick up in most matchups. It's what's going to carry you to the win. Is getting a good flurry, and it's going to work against druid, somewhat, and against headlock. All rogue a lot of Rogue used to be pretty bad against it, but of recent memory, I think all rogue has picked up in power to the point where I almost want to say it's favored against headlock.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Like recently, I was saying that Rogue is in a bad position versus Handlock, but most of the pro players agree that it is actually slightly favored.
Yeah. All right. Well, good to know I'm not the only one on that specific opinion. And Freeze Mage from StrifeCro, kind of weak to the Druid from Lifecoach, but again, it's decent against Patron, depending on the amount of armor that the warrior stacks. We've talked about that before. You kind of have to play it like a control warrior.
So the deck that we might be looking for is Druid. Like Druid has a very good matchup versus Freeze Mage, but if StrifeCro manages to win that, Druid will struggle versus Midrange Hunter and will struggle versus Rogue as well. So Druid might never win, and that might be the weakest link. But if Life Coach wins with Druid, I think he might be positioned pretty well to take the match.
Yeah, and also I want to point out Lifecoach has stacked in a Kazan Mystic in his Druid as far as I remember. So going up against Hunter and Mage from StrifeCro gives him two matchups where the tech card is going to be relevant, and that's not always going to happen. Very often you run into, let's say, a Hunter when you play that Kazan Mystic, but not necessarily the Mage.
He's also running Harrison Jones, so in the Rogue matchup that will be very useful. In the Hunter matchup, it might matter.
Yeah, I mean, Harrison Jones is one of those cards where even when it's not useful, you still get some mileage out of it. And because he's got, again, two decks to use that tech card against, it's still going to be good. Like, denying a weapon to a rogue is usually just going to deny a 1-2 weapon. Because very often when they end up, buffing it up with deadly poisons and blade flurries, they're just going to blade flurry right away. Like, Antikyr Sharpsword, that is, they're just going to waste it right away. So Harrison Jones doesn't nearly work as well in those sorts of situations, but denying the 2 mana that gives them the 1-2 weapon is enough to make it worth it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Also, it's important that those decks are more or less already known because the players have played with them. So if they did study each other, if they looked at the VODs, they will know what is being played and what are the tech cards, more or less.
Yeah, and I think maybe Lifecoach is playing MC Tech. I'm not too sure. I know that StrifeCro was playing one back in the group stage, if I'm not mistaken, before we ended up in the double elimination process. And it's also a card that's picked up. I mean, ever since people recognize the fact that Druid just doesn't have any spot removal worth a crap, which is just a fact, right? The class just doesn't have what it needs for spot removal.
Yeah.
Naturalize is cute, but it's not going to cut it. And so MC Tech kind of made its way in alongside BGH or Harrison Jones, or a mix of those.
Okay, so we can see that this will be a freeze mage versus handlock, and I believe this is heavily favored for the freeze mage.
Yeah.
We're just stall and finish the game with the spells.
Yeah, it's a very common matchup where even if the handlock gets a board, by the time the board of the handlock is going to threaten lethal, usually you're ready to unload some spell damage. And because he's life tapped so much, you win right away. Like the heal bots don't help nearly as much as he'd like to because you don't always need to wait for Alex Strada.
So the big question is how to win as a handlock, because freeze mage just does its thing, draws cards and freezes the board and then just accumulates burn to win the game. But as a handlock, like what do you really want? What are you looking for?
I think, well, I mean, I don't know how much experience, like, as a handlock player against Freeze Mage, I don't have much experience. I just know that the one thing, because I played Freeze Mage much more than I've played handlock, the one thing that really put a dent in my ability to win was when they played a Lotheb, and on the following turn played Healbot, because what happened is they would play Lotheb, then I would be denied whatever I wanted to do. Then they play heal bot, so then I have to wait to play Alex right afterwards, which gives them a turn to attack with Lotheb and attack with whatever they already had. So it's one of those things where I think Lotheb is a crucial card to get anything done against you.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's actually pretty good because I play mostly handlock, so we'll have both perspectives from our end. And what I like to do versus freeze mage as a handlock is just try to pressure them as much as possible. Just get the mountain giants, drakes early to force them to use their removal cards and freezes instead of just drawing cards.
Right.
Just give them the time. And Iron Begal will be really valuable as well because when you freeze me, I will try to unfreeze my giant and just get that ice block or get that damage in so that I can win.
Yeah, and I think Mountain Giant has to be the most important one because as important as the Drake might be, it suffers from not dealing enough damage to be high pressure, right? So I think Mountain Giants are by far the most crucial cards. But we'll see what they end up doing. So Lifecoach here does have a Mountain at the very least, but StrifeCro found an Acolyte of Pain, which is going to be very good for him. Gonna draw at least 2 cards here.
It's actually very interesting because Lifecoach did mulligan the Mountain and he mulliganed the Iron Begal as well. So he was looking for something else in the opening hand.
I wonder what it was. I wonder what you're looking
maybe?
for. Yeah, but over Giants? I don't know about that. You know, that's the one thing I have to be curious about. Am I ever looking for that instead? Because I'm happy when the mage ends up using, his ice lances or his fireballs on my minions early.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was looking for. The Drakes to eat up some removal.
All right, so here you are not happy about mage drawing cards with Acolyte of Pain, but can you really counter that? Well, if you coin Defender of Argus, but then you're actually shutting down your own giant. So
well, the question is how much is that a problem?
you want to deny card draw. If you life tap, you will be able to play the giant next turn. So it's like oppose like damage. I think Defender of Argus might be the play though,
Yeah.
because if you don't kill Acolyte here, Mage will be able to maybe even draw 3 cards out of it.
Yeah, no, I think coining out the defender, like the thing is, you're not gonna get any taunt value from the defender. So the only value it's got for you at this point is letting your zombie chow get even more damage in and trade with the acolyte. So this is the most value you're gonna get out of that card slot, and you can always try to play a little longer game. You can get a second defender next turn again, make your board more resilient against some of the earlier board wipes.
Yeah. And this is a control game, and control game is mostly decided by who draws more cards, who has more of the quality plays. But
StrifeCro with double Frostbolt, double Ice Lance. And like one of the cards that you really want as Freeze Mage ever since BRM is Emperor Thorson. In a situation like this, Emperor Thorson can enable the craziest lethals.
yeah, that's certainly true. Also, like it's important to mention that Lifecoach denying that Acolyte really did take a bite at StrifeCro. StrifeCro has no draw at the moment. Like he did only ping the minion this turn, and no more great plays from him. But he has Ice Barrier, so at least something to stop the damage.
Yeah, I like the fact that he pinged the zombie chow. A lot of players here would have played Ice Barrier, but what that doesn't let you do is on turn 5, finally kill off the zombie chow, heal yourself, then play Ice Barrier, because your turn 5 is going to be pretty boring anyway, very often.
Yeah, StrifeCro will just take his time, and Lifecoach is trying to get into that Mountain Giant range. Will he? Which he will be able to play next turn.
Oh man, like those Doomsayers, one of them might be played preemptively eventually. I just don't know when you're going to get any value out of it. He needs to pick up Arcane Intellect or the second Acolyte of Pain. Like, he really wants to draw cards here.
Do you know if he's playing Loot Hoarders?
He might be. I think this is a very common play. You play like double Acolyte with 1 or 2 Loot Hoarders. Blood Mage Thalnos as a one of, obviously.
All right, so Lifecoach is probably going for a Tap Giant play.
Yep.
Which is...
What? Oh man, that can't be right. Wait, was that right?
Did he misclick?
He must have. He thinks this is... Does he think this is a deck it's not? Did he think this was Strider Mage, maybe, from StrifeCro?
Yeah, that's possible.
Oh, man, StrifeCro...
It's Flame Waker.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Lifecoach seems surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so this changes things.
It does, really.
Oh, man. Now we have to know what it is.
Well, this has to be a trap, though, because Lifecoach was thinking, I can't play the Giant here because I'm going to give him a copy of one.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. What do you do now?
But
what do you do?
This is so weird. Can you somehow kill it with...
No, there's no Dark Bomb, right? So, like, that's already out of the question. No Iron Beak Owl either. You'd have to, like, play Watcher, tap, get Iron Beak, and be done with it. But that's, like, a pretty low chance of working.
It's just nothing. There's nothing good you can do this turn.
Yeah.
Well, Doomsayer is bringing some doom. He knew it.
Did I miss it? No, you're not gonna miss anything, mate. It's gonna go off all right. It's gonna go off all right.
Did I miss it? Did you actually hear it in game?
Yeah, of course, multiple times.
Okay.
I live for those moments.
Buffing your Doomsayers to attack?
Yeah, dude. Oh wow. Wait, is he?
Yeah, this is what he needs to
do. Okay, he just doesn't care. Just wants to play double Giant next turn, and the Emperor Thorson from StrifeCro. Oh my god!
Those two cards are the exact cards he needed. What?
Can you imagine that next turn? This is just going to be so excruciating.
Oh my god.
Emperor, double Frostbolt, double Ice Lance.
How much damage is that? That's +6. 14 points of damage. And he gets 4 fireballs.
You know, sometimes you just gotta hand it to those freeze mages. Sometimes.
StrifeCro's just sleepy. Just look at StrifeCro. He's like, oh my god, that hand.
Yeah, he's like, good thing I top decked those, because I don't think I could have thought my way through anything more complicated right now.
StrifeCro is just thinking, do I dream? Like, is it reality? Did they actually draw those cards?
But it is the dream. Like, this is the perfect sequence for him. Emperor from the Loot Hoarder, and then top deck Archmage with double Frostbolt and Ice Lance exactly on 8 mana. Like, this is just crazy.
So with 14 points of damage, Lifecoach will drop to 9, and with Heal Bot, that will be 17. So, well, can't really go for 4 fireballs.
Yeah, but like, you have to play double Mountain here, right?
Yeah, it seems... well, on the other hand... Yeah, I think so. Like, there is no way to deal with the Tori-san.
And he's gonna go ahead and taunt up the Giant. Well, that could be a good excuse for StrifeCro to go for Archmage and just kill the Giant and then get, 4 fireballs at 3 mana each and spam them on the following turn for 18.
Well, you are dealing so much damage in and getting 4 fireballs, and fireballs are getting cost reduced because Tori-san is actually in place. I don't think you kill anything here. There is no possible way you're going to die to the Mountain Giant and then Defender of Argus. Just pack the damage in, get the fireballs, get their costs reduced, and then you say well played.
Yeah, because you got 18 guaranteed on the following turn unless he plays Lotheb.
Yeah, and if he plays Lotheb, you still have like the full board anyway.
I'd probably see him kill the Giant more often than not, but we'll see what he does. Oh, actually he goes to kill it, okay.
That makes sense as well. I mean, like, you do have those fireballs, and the cost will be reduced.
I mean, the fact that the cost is going down to 3 for each of the fireballs is just insane. You're keeping Archmage, you're keeping Emperor, and there's little you can do. Lifecoach's face once it gets lit up when it's his turn. It's probably going to display a great amount of dismay here.
He has to clear and then heal himself. That's the thing he has to do.
And survive 18 damage. Like, it's not even...
Yeah, like he basically has to heal, like he's exactly at 18 after the attack.
Casual concession. Okay, there's some games you just can't win. Lifecoach is gonna give this one to StrifeCro respectfully, and StrifeCro is gonna take the winner with this Freeze Mage, which again I thought Lifecoach was, he knew that because I expected him to have studied his opponent, but maybe he didn't quite catch on. That Ancient Watcher play indicated that he thought it was tempo.
Yeah, definitely he didn't.
Oh my god! Do you know what it might be?
The perspective switch?
Yes, because StrifeCro and the Maz played against each other in the initial phases. That was like the most obvious VOD to study both players' perspective from. So Lifecoach probably watched that VOD. Maz and StrifeCro's perspective was probably switched on the interface to where it looked like StrifeCro was playing the Tempo Mage, and you made that mistake as well when you looked at it. So I completely understand where he made that mistake, and he saw Mirror Entity in that deck, and when he played here, he assumed his studies had been accurate, but they were off.
That's definitely true. I did watch the same VOD, and I totally was deceived. I was sure that StrifeCro was playing Flame Waker deck. And,
man, this is like a next level metagame. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Well, now he knows, and the mage is out. And actually, the mage was the best shot for Druid, right? Like, because that Druid had almost like 100% win rate versus this Freeze Mage with the Chasm Mystics and other stuff. So now the Druid will have to play versus midrange and versus Rogue.
Yeah, so what do you start with here? Because you don't want to give your opponent a win with the Hunter, so you at least have to queue up your Druid against everything in the hope they eventually get the Hunter, then you can start going for the other 2 decks against the Rogue, perhaps.
I think you still might take the Handlock again, and try to win versus whatever is being queued.
Okay.
And then when you have the Handlock, when you move forward, and Grim Patron will be good versus... Oh man, it's like, I guess like it's better versus Hunter. Versus Rogue is weird. Like, Rogue has a lot of clears, but it's not that much favored. I think it's more or less 50-50. Or maybe Rogue is a bit favored. And then you have the Druid, which... I
mean, I don't know how bad the Druid really is against Rogue. Like, it's actually okay depending on how they draw ramp-wise. Because really the crucial card in that matchup is very often a sap, where Rogue gets a good sap with a prep turn, and that's it. Like, it's all about that one turn where the tempo gets switched around. Then Druid, as we spoke of, has no way to recover that, right? Like, he's got spot removal, but it doesn't happen until turn 6. Like, swipe plus hero power to get rid of something.
Also, like Violet Teachers. If StrifeCro is even playing Violet Teachers, they do also swing the games.
Exactly. So you're forced to have the swipe, whereas they can play any spells they want to get the 1/1s.
It's tough. Like, it's not a great matchup. I think like versus Rogue, basically, as a druid, you need to kill every minion there is, and you need to keep being ahead. If you stop being ahead, you might just lose, unless you were ahead for enough time to win with the combo. But more or less, I think from the Rogue's perspective, you are able to keep the tempo, and then you are able to like prep sprint at some point, have enough cards to get the better quality plays, and you take the matchup. I think like Rogue is just slightly favored. It's not like the amazing matchup, but I think it's slightly favored. And mid-range Hunter also is slightly favored. That's why Druid is kind of in a tough spot.
So both players here seem to be debating what to play next. I wonder if Lifecoach realized the mistake, because he seemed like he was browsing through the old VODs and he was like, "Oh, what have I done? I ruined everything." But I don't know.
Well, at the moment when you're sure your studies were correct and you play versus Flame Waker, you mess up, then you basically lose all the confidence you had. So now I would go through all the VODs and see like what Hunter it is. Is this face Hunter now? Like, I've been expecting mid-range.
Did he play a mirror match against a face hunter and I thought he was playing something else? Well, we'll see exactly what the players pick, but Lifecoach is going to be sticking to his handlock, it seems, and StrifeCro is going to be going for the rogue.
And the middle row, well, no, wait, it's our rogue.
Oh yeah, King Mukla, get in here. You know you're waiting for this.
Get the gang up on those oracles. All right, so this is the matchup that we actually we haven't discussed this. We discussed the Druid Rogue, and in this matchup, it's like originally what was happening was that Handlock had an advantage, and Handlock was just building a big board, had heals, had taunts, and Rogue's chance was to build up a big knife and then have a big flurry. But apparently it changed a bit, and now Rogue kind of has an edge. And I haven't played that much Rogue versus Handlock, and when I played it, I'm mostly losing versus Handlock. So players like Firebud and Orange are saying Rogue has an edge, Hyped said Rogue has an edge, but you need to meet like specific points to actually go through it.
Yeah, and I think the Shredder is one of those cards that makes the matchup a lot easier.
Maybe also prep, like because with the prep sprint, you're able to draw many cards, and then you again increase the quality of your hand and the plays.
Well, it's like, you know, when you play Priest versus Handlock, the only way you're gonna win is if the Handlock lets you draw cards, right? Like, it is the only way you're gonna win, and it's the same thing here. If you don't pick up a sprint and you don't get your Drakes, you can't even keep up with the card, the sheer number of cards that gets thrown your way. Like, it's not even about the quality at that point. You just get obliterated by the amount of them.
Yeah. Well, looking at those hands, I feel like StrifeCro has a good hand because he got he got minions. So instead of like spells, he has some kind of a curve. He'll be able to put the pressure and keep tempo. On the Lifecoach side, it is a terrible hand. Well, he has the Hellfire to deal with some minions, but what you want to have versus Rogue, I believe, is Twilight Drakes, Mountain Giants. You want to pressure the Rogue and have tools to kill their minions instead of just being defensive.
So StrifeCro's thinking here is probably, if I coin out a 3-drop, Dark Bomb gets played, and at least Lifecoach doesn't tap. Right, that's the best thing. However, if you play a 3/3 on the next turn, he can then Dark Bomb and Life Tap on the back of it. So you kind of don't want that to happen. But if you do that, and if you keep your coin for the Shredder, then he can Dark Bomb and tap, sure, but then you keep a minion on the board. So there's like multiple ways for him to look at this. Oh, and he picks up the Shredder play. And that's going to let him contest a Life Tap with an extra 2-drop coming out of the Shredder. So StrifeCro's play here, I really do like.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Also, one of the key points is just you need to kill the giant, you can't tap it. So with this, if there is a mountain giant, he will be able to deal with this.
Right, with the SI7 in the backstab.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of ironic.
Yeah, it is a bit. I'm sure you like the minion. We've seen Lepronomes for myself, and now there is an Ooze.
Ooze the best.
Does it have a name, like Noxus or something?
Not really. Is that no name? No, it's just like Ooze.
Let's call it Noxus.
Noxus?
Noxus?
Please don't do that. Oh my god. Oh my god, Noxus.
Nobody said that before.
I might have thought about it when I was like thinking a long time ago, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody bring it up. Noxus.
Well, we are casting for the first time together, so
I mean, you and I are the only ones who share outrage over the Kodo and the Cleft Hook, right?
Yeah.
We're the only two players who seem to have a gripe with Blizzard. I'm gonna get you, Blizzard. You'll change that.
There's also like Shuttersun Cleric, who's actually Paladin, not a Cleric.
Yeah, like what's up with that, right? Like, is she a priest or what? Come on.
Well, she is a Paladin. All right, so we've seen the big Hellfire there, but StrifeCro has a follow-up. He has those minions, and a prep sprint as well planned, which is huge.
Yeah, again, this is probably the most impactful thing, and StrifeCro picking up the sap here is really nice for him because it's going to allow him, if Lifecoach puts down a massive minion on the board, let's say an Emperor Thorson here, if he ends up killing it with the SI7 backstab dagger, his sap is going to allow him to get the follow-up minion and just return to the hand. So, like, the StrifeCro's hand is very, very powerful.
Yeah, it is. He is missing some burst though.
Yeah, some games you get the insta kill, some games you have to drag it on and on.
Okay, so backstab, fan of knives, so he's fishing for the oil, I believe. Eviscerates to get a bit more reach. Second prep is really good. He will be able to do stuff with like sprint, prep sprint, maybe prep sap even if he needs next turn. Now the question is, do you attack and do you get in the Molten Giant range?
If you attack and the Molten Giant comes out, it's going to, like, it comes out and gets taunted, you can sap it, so you're still possibly able to reach for lethal, because the South Sea in your 2/3/3s gives you a lot of reach. All you have to pick up is like one more damage tool with sprint, and you can prep the sap, so it's like, he's really close to getting it done.
Yeah, he's in a good shape, but it seems like he doesn't have that much burst. Lifecoach picks up Mountain Giant though. So for 3 mana...
the problem with that play is that it's leaving you... I mean, do you ever... I was gonna say Hellfire. I mean, Giant. Hellfire, Giant. You can't taunt it up, because then it'll be at 4 mana, so you'll be loaded. There's the Giant play with Ancient Watcher, Sun Fury. There's the Healbot taunt with his Ancient Watcher. How do you feel about Healbot Ancient Watcher taunt? Is that...
Healbot Ancient Watcher taunt, that's 6 points of mana. I think you can... Maybe you can do it actually. You have double Sunfury Protector. It's like weighing your chances. This will be like a high risk, high reward play, I believe. So you either say he doesn't have it,
he might just play a single Healbot. I mean, it's not even that bad. It's putting him on 19, and he's still fine after the Hellfire.
Yeah.
So StrifeCro still has to pick up a lot of damage, and he picks up a really good card there.
Yeah, there is a first oil, but this is probably preparation sprint anyway.
Yeah, definitely. You don't even have to prep it, do you? Because like you almost want to keep the prep for the burst turn, and you're not there yet. And what are you going to play on the back of that prep sprint? Like a 3-drop? You've seen 2 Earthen Rings. There's 1 more SI. I guess maybe that. Like the one thing.
Yeah, that's really smart actually. And you've used like most of the 3-drops, right?
Yeah, he's used 3 of his 4 3-drops, although like which is very very heavy. Very rarely do you see that much that made 3-drops be used at this point. So
he did pick up a Deadly Poison actually, like so there is some burst with double prep. That might be an amazing turn, but
yeah, some burst. That's a lot of burst. It scares me to think about it.
All right, if we think about it, actually, let's count it. So, like with the deckhand, you use you'll have 8 mana. So 7 with deckhand. You can prep the oil. That will be 6 more mana. Deadly Poison is 5 mana, and you still have prep sap.
You got Blade Flurry as well if you need it. I mean,
yeah. So and 3 mana free, like 3 mana for whatever you want. So basically, how much damage that will be? +5. Plus,
he's actually possibly got lethal if he goes for the Giant. Actually, yeah, he's got 18 damage he can deal, assuming everything goes face. Which in this case, because of the sap,
if he picks up a second sap, he wins.
He has to get a second sap. Oh my God, that Blade Flurry.
He doesn't have enough mana for that.
Double prep, right? Easy. South Sea, prep, Tinkers, prep, Tinkers.
Oh man. And then he like, okay, but.
Is that enough though? We have to look into this a little bit.
Wait. If South Sea attacks into the 4/5 and then you sap the Giant, it's like can you still flurry this? You possibly can, right? So this +6 plus 2, that's
8,
8,
yeah,
9,
he's actually on
18.
1
Yeah, that's
health.
lethal. Because with flurry, it's weapon attack is 8 and there is flurry. Oh my god, noxious.
This is all because of that sprint for 7. That sprint for 7 was just so good. Man, that South Sea deckhand is so strong. It's like the South Sea to rule them all. It's like
this is just crazy. This turn is one of the biggest turns I've seen in a Hearthstone.
And Lifecoach's headlock. Losing again with exact lethal from StrifeCro.
Wow.
This is a really excruciating feeling because now the Warlock from Lifecoach has to win against the Hunter from StrifeCro, and we know for a fact that this is not a really good matchup for the Warlock player. So if Lifecoach sticks to his guns and goes for the Warlock again, this might just end up being a complete sweep by StrifeCro.
All the decks actually doesn't have they don't have that great matchup. I think Patron probably has the best matchup versus midrange, but
I agree. Yeah.
Maybe
then again,
Druid...
Kazan Mystic, right? If there's a Kazan
Mystic, yeah. But like other than that, it will be a tough ride for Lifecoach.
I mean, I think Lifecoach is gonna have to get some like just the Warlock matchup is gonna be enough to make him suffer. That's gonna be so problematic.
Okay, so you know you're facing midrange now. You check the VODs. This is not Face Hunter. This is not Hybrid.
This is a pure mid-range with freezing traps, if I recall. Like very standard list, so you know you have to go for specific decks. Like you know what you're going up against. And he's gonna pick his Warlock again. Do you think that was a favorable matchup for him?
No, I don't. But you have to win with Handlock eventually. And if I recall correctly, in the finals of the Via Game House Cup 3, this matchup was flipped. So basically, Lifecoach won with midrange Hunter versus StrifeCro's Handlock.
That would be Retribution. And the thing is, I know that Lothar told me that Lifecoach basically doesn't value the whole in which order do you play your deck, mind games of conquest. He's just like, whatever, I've got to win with everything, I'll pick one deck and stick with it. And then eventually I have to power through all the decks anyway.
That's really interesting. Like a lot of players say that it doesn't matter, that it's fully randomized, but I've been watching Firebats at Gfinity, and every match he had it mapped out, and it worked. It really worked, and he won double back-to-back Gfinities.
Well, I think it starts mattering when you have techs, right, in your deck. Like, when you're teching against specific decks, you don't want to face off, let's say, against... Like, let's say you have a Druid, right, with Kazan Mystic and Harrison Jones. You don't want to be running that into Patron Warrior. So what you have to do then is try to look at what you think your opponent is going to be running and try to get those techs against him. So I think for teching players, ordering your decks properly really matters.
Yeah, I think that's one thing, and also some of the players they have those patterns. They basically don't think about it, like they say randomized, but they feel good opening with Handlock, let's say. So you do have those matchups, and you know your matchups, like what's good, what's bad. So you try to catch them off guard. When they follow their pattern, you're ready with your specific good matchup from game one. And then if you're winning your good matchups, then you have a better mental state, and you can take the match.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense actually. Just a little bit of extra mind games there. And Lifecoach with the silence and the juggler, that's not uncommon. I kind of like that play. It's actually really tough for the Hunter to handle. The only way he does it is by playing his Glaivezooka, if he's got one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good and standard play. But on the other hand, there is a Mad Scientist as well, a target you might want to silence.
I mean... like, if he plays Snake Trap, he's almost guaranteed to get the snakes, because Lifecoach is never going to leave that juggler up.
Yeah, he has to do something. On the other hand, like he maybe can wait one turn and then try to Hellfire after that. It's like for StrifeCro, like...
yeah, I understand what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean like from Lifecoach's perspective, but StrifeCro, if he plays Snake Trap here, I think it's alright, as you said, because Juggler has to go, right?
Oh man, StrifeCro just says, you know what, I want to protect that Juggler as much as I can. And Lifecoach with no immediate answer to that. Oh, wow. Alright, never mind. Change of plans. He's got the Dark Bomb. He can do it, or Hellfire him next turn. Like, he's got whatever he wants here.
I can understand the Quickshot, though, because Quickshot is 3 damage, and if you protect your Juggler, Juggler will do maybe 6 points of damage. So you turn Quickshot into 6 damage instead.
Most expensive Mortal Coil that doesn't draw ever. Lifecoach gets his Hellfire, after all, but he's on 19 health on turn 4. He's got good follow-up, so it's not that bad. Freezing Trap is up for him. So again, bit of a problem if Lifecoach wants to counterattack right away.
StrifeCro has so much burst, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm actually like scared. He's gonna have to use some of it unless he picks up an owl on the Belcher though.
Well, this turn he probably just will go with the Snake Trap, Web Spinner Hero Power.
Yeah, when does Lifecoach ever attack into this though? Pretty much never, right?
Actually, maybe it's time to Web Spinner Kill Command. Like, you want to see what's possible. If you go like...
I wonder.
Okay.
I mean, like, Web Spinner Kill Command, attackable before free. Because you want to go for the Belcher. So yeah, like, Snake Trap doesn't make sense because there's a Freezing Trap online.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think the kill command makes sense. I mean, you're not getting the 5 to the face, but at the same time, you're also getting possible future value from Houndmaster because the opponent has to kill it again. So he needs the Dark Bomb, which maybe he would have played on the Juggler if he'd had it. So there's a chance he doesn't have that, or the second Hellfire, or another Belcher, ideally.
Yeah, it's also like mirroring the play that he did with the Juggler.
Yeah, it's following the exact same line, which is I'm going to value my board way over the direct damage spells that I've got.
And it's the correct play, like, it makes a little sense, but he will not be happy seeing the Dark Bomb there.
The Drake, do you do Dark Bomb? Like, do you coil? Because I don't think it's worth it when you can just play the Drake. But then Hunter's Mark would punish you. So what's the play?
Hunter's Mark most of the time will punish you anyway.
Wait, oh yeah, if you play Drake, you're into a problem, right? Because you know there's a Freezing Trap, so you almost have to play BGH for tempo.
Well, you will be toning it up with Defender of Argus. So if you go Twilight Drake and kill the Houndmaster with the Dark Bomb, you just let the Spider in. If it kills, like, if there is a Hunter's Mark and attack with the Web Spinner, you're more or less fine because the board will not be that full, so...
Yeah.
There'll be like random beasts. You're probably afraid of the high main.
Yeah. Oh wow, Lifecoach is going for the Emperor Thorson, trying to get himself more options to weave in at a later time. And it still forces a response from StrifeCro.
Oh man, the high main top deck. This is perfect for StrifeCro, and that Houndmaster is getting the value. I also like Lifecoach's play made sense because if you have hand like this, it's not a good hand. Those are not premier cards. So with Thorison at least, you hope you're going to get more quality plays later.
So he's gonna taunt this up. At least he's gonna be able to kill the high main, right? Like very, very easily here because the Hunter's Mark was already used up on Thorson. So playing Thorson really played into many options. Like Owl wouldn't have been used, but you're guaranteed to get the Hunter's Mark out of the way.
Yeah, and now StrifeCro is in trouble. He will not be able to kill the 5/8 easily.
He's gonna have to pop the high main and get his quick shot. Imagine Tundra Rhino with Emperor Cobra. New metagame? Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
I played that in the last brawl with the beasts. That worked.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
Alright, so here I guess Snake Trap and Cobra anyway, and you use the hero power. You probably want to use the hero power as much as possible. Like at this point, looking at the 4 cards in the opposing hand, you don't care about Molten Giants that much. Mad Scientist? Well, that is a minion on board, so maybe instead of Cobra, but I feel like Lifecoach will want to attack into the high main, so I like the Snake Trap.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you're protected from... Like, Freezing Trap is kind of protecting you anyway. Oh, wow. Actually, not anymore, really. Ancient Watcher with Defender from the Freezing Trap. He can replay both. The Snake's a problem. The Emperor Cobra, of course.
Yeah, that's some damage, but it seems like Lifecoach is stabilizing.
I wonder.
Second check.
Yeah, it's a really important turn for him, though. So, do you ever just attack with your Drake and then try to kill the Cobra and then coil it? But then you can't taunt up, so high main's free to go. If you Ancient Watcher, return the Defend of Argus, then you're getting the retaunt ability.
Well, with this, you know that this is a Snake Trap.
Yeah.
Cobra is annoying. You don't have the... maybe... can you tap for like a Shadow Flame? That would be amazing. but you used one, right? Like, did
I-
you use Shadow Flame?
I think Watcher's too good not to do though. Like I think the ancient Watcher is really like you could even kill the what's his name, the mad scientist first if you wanted. Oh, please tell me you didn't rope on that coil.
Wait, this is how much damage is it? This is 6 plus 3. That's 9, 11 plus 6. That's 17 points of damage.
That's it. Yeah, this is it. The Cobra is gonna kill the Watcher, and
Wait. He's I think he might be
oh,
off.
he's got the 3 damage that has to go there. With 17, I think he's 1 off. Is he really 1 off?
He might be 1 off because there's Drake. He can still draw something from the quick shot.
Oh, well, he's 1 off lethal. Yeah, it's all about what he gets from quick shot. I mean, even Unleash the Hounds would do it, right? Like a single Hound would win. It's about cycling the quick shot into the Drake, attacking with the Cobra on the 5/6, going face with everything, and then getting 1 damage off the top. Hell, it could even be Glaive Zuka. Like, it doesn't even matter. Oh, wow. It's like probably like the only card.
Yeah, but he's still in a great shape. Like, just putting opponent so low. At this point, like, you have to risk it. You just can't open yourself up to Shadow Flame.
No, I agree. I mean, it's still not lost. It's just that this one-off lethal situation seems to come up way too often.
Yeah, it does. So now Lifecoach... Oh, and he kills it to 3. To avoid a Shadow Flame. Just in case, you know.
So what does Lifecoach have?
Just draw cards.
Yeah, find taunts.
That is a taunt.
Healbot taunt?
Healbot.
Yeah, I mean...
That's, what, like, effectively 11 points of health, and then he'll be at 15, more or less, and there is... 6.
Yeah, you're gonna be on 12 after the heal. It's just not gonna be, like, super amazing. So you're gonna be, like, at 15 effective.
Yeah. How much damage is there? 6, 8, plus 2, 10, 13.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is... well... I wouldn't say it's so close because StrifeCro has a landslide advantage, but this is tough for Lifecoach. Especially after this first game versus Freeze Mage.
And he's tapping. Okay.
Yeah, this means he gives up. He could potentially just coil.
Yeah, well, it's over if he coils, because now he can't taunt up anymore. I thought he would coil instead of tapping here. He did the exact same thing. In fact, it was better because he didn't waste 2 mana, and he also killed the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't seem to care. He's thinking to himself, why did I tap here? That made no sense. I could have coiled.
Yeah, Lifecoach just needs to go to sleep. And this will be it, right? Yeah, this is exact.
Yeah, thanks to the life tap, that was exact lethal, but then again, it's not as though it was a big deal. Very often here, the Warlock would have still died over time, given even imperfect draws from the Hunter. It was too close to be recovered. What could he have picked up that really changed the game?
I don't think, like, he had the heal bot, maybe like a Shadow Flame. But then with Shadow Flame, yeah, I think Shadow Flame was probably the best possible card.
Yeah. With the Healbot top deck into Shadow Flame, then you heal and then you kill everything, and then you might be able to stabilize somehow, like with perfect top decks. The way that I remember D2 did against a Hunter, he literally started the game with the worst possible hand, and throughout the start of the game, he just kept like making the worst faces. Like, what is this game? Is this what this has come to? Face Hunters everywhere. Why am I playing this? And then every single time he dropped something, like he top decked Healbot with 0 cards in hand against the Face Hunter, and he just kept having that look of satisfaction. But it doesn't happen that often, unfortunately.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so StrifeCro sweeps Lifecoach. He takes the 3-0 win. But I don't know, like, being StrifeCro, I wouldn't be that happy about the win. It seems like he was playing versus Tired Coach.
Yeah, I think Tired Coach is definitely it. I mean, Lifecoach very often plays super well, but he was... I think the first misread is what got to him, because he still played pretty okay. But I think a Lifecoach has this thing where every time I see him play, after the first mistake that he catches himself doing, it goes downhill from there. It's not even when he loses a game. Like, he loses a game and he feels like he played well, he doesn't care. When he loses a game and he just, makes mistakes, that's when he gets really angry at himself. So you can see it in his facial expressions. He's a lot more emotional now than he was in 2014. And I think it's because he takes the game a lot more seriously now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, Lifecoach is a player who's looking for those puzzles on the board, and he takes like most pride and most fun in just solving every turn and looking for the best and the perfect move.
Right.
And you know, when he stumbles and he knows that he didn't pick the best, like he basically misplayed, then just he continues to think about why he did the misplay, what happened.
Right, and I think the misread on the because initially, for those of you who might have missed the match, just watch the VOD afterwards. It was actually worth watching. Lifecoach made a play which I think indicated that he thought his opponent was playing Tempo Mage, and we explained a little later. He read StrifeCro as having played the deck that Amaz was playing in the previous VOD. He must have scouted that and gotten the wrong information. So going on bad assumptions about the matchup is always going to lead to disasters, and I think that's what might have happened in the series.
All right, so StrifeCro actually advances to play versus
Lustov. Yeah, so your
the
C9
Archon
player,
killer.
man. Is he gonna take it?
I actually have a title for him. Lostov, the Vanquisher of Archon.
Vanquisher of Archon, or like a custom title. If he actually beats Firebat, like if he beats StrifeCro, like it's gonna be a footnote, right? Like it's not Archon, so it's like it's not a big deal. But if he goes on to the finals and Firebat ends up also advancing to the finals, and Lostov beats him, that's going to be just the craziest event for me. So
it will
hopefully we get to witness history. In the meantime, guys, that's it for the day. We'll be back later this week with more matches. I will not be casting those matches. I think Nimsh, you will be, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I believe tomorrow I'm doing the matches with Savitz.
All right, great. So, well, they'll see you tomorrow. I'll be gone in the meantime. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you, I guess, whenever I see you. Have a nice one.